People in the West are understandably nervous when they visit Mexico, especially in the context of food, health and safety. No one wants to be ill while on holiday or on a longer stint away from home. I have lived here for 12 years. I have been ill plenty of times, and over that time I have gained a natural instinct that protects me in matters of health and safety. This video will help viewers have a clearer understanding of what to eat and drink and what to avoid when visiting Mexico. We will divide the issue into two separate areas, water and then food. So let's look at water. It is easy to get paranoid about water, and understandably so. 1 cup of water can make or break a holiday. My paranoia revolves around 2 factors. First, the heavy metal content of water, and second, the bacteria content of water. So let's deal with the heavy metals first. The concern may be that Mexico contains lead pipes, and so the water coming through the taps may contain lead. A 1994 study demonstrated that the presence of lead in water in Mexico City was minimal, mainly because the water was alkaline, not acidic, and so the lead did not dissolve into the water. However, I cannot speak for other areas of Mexico. On that note, it is advised not to buy ceramic pots for cooking in, as many of them contain high quantities of lead. In 2016, a Canadian woman suffered from lead poisoning because she regularly used a glazed ceramic mug from Mexico to drink her tea. An investigation showed that the glaze on her ceramics contained 17% lead. We now come to the bacteria in water. I'm going to be a little less scientific now. I can only speak from my own experience. I have lived in Pachuca Hidalgo, and as far as I can tell, I have never been sick from drinking water. First, I don't drink cold tap water, but I do brush my teeth with it. Second, my neighbours have served me hot drinks with tap water. I teach English in houses, and they themselves will make coffee with tap water. Third, theoretically, tap water could be put into tortillas, but as you can see here, I by chance caught a lady making tortillas using bottled water. I have never caught a tortilleria adding tap water to tortillas, and I don't think it matters because the tortillas are cooked. Fourth, I have never consciously avoided ice cubes, but in my area, normally people drink Coke from a fridge. The liquid is already cold, so I rarely see ice cubes. Fifth, if you want to purify water, Microdin is readily available with instructions on the back in regards to how much to add to the water for purification purposes. Sixth, it is advised to keep any water you use out of the sun. Finally, in regards to water, all around Pachuca, automatic machines are appearing that provide purified water. You can fill up anything from a 1 litre bottle to a 20 litre container. We now get onto the subject of food, and in my opinion, this is a more important topic. I have had the privilege of having salmonella a number of times, and have also been blessed with amoebic dysentery. So listen closely. First, many vegetables in Mexico are produced using sewage water, known as agua negra, or black water, to feed the plants. Mexicans wash their vegetables with some kind of soap before cooking them. I generally don't eat raw vegetables, but I wash down the vegetable and then boil any bacteria away with salty water. Second, there are 2 ways to make tortillas. Tortillas can be made by machine, and they seem to be generally okay. Second, tortillas can be made by hand. The simple fact is that tortillas made by hand are far tastier. The only problem is that many of the people that make tortillas by hand are uneducated indigenous people or people from the pueblos. The result is that there is a health and safety risk. The secret to buying tortillas is to watch how the people make them. Are they being hygienic? I once bought my tortillas from a new business set up by some indigenous people. They had a pile of tortillas just made on the table. One lady dropped a tortilla. She picked it up and she knew I was watching. Her solution was to put the tortilla on the table next to the pile of already made tortillas. The conclusion was clear. She was going to put the tortilla on the pile once I had left. I still kept buying tortillas from there. Did I mention that tortillas made by hand are delicious? Anyway, I did eventually get a stomach bug from eating their tortillas. Now I have moved house and regularly eat tortillas made by hand from multiple places, and they are all trustworthy. One indication that a person is responsible can be seen here. You can see that when tortillas fall to the floor, the lady lets them dry there and then she gives them to her dog. Third, cocina económicas or economic kitchens. These are good places to buy food. They provide reasonable deals at cheap prices. These institutions cook in bulk for a large number of people, which means food moves quickly and so has no time to go off. I have never been sick in a cocina económica. One caveat to this is that I generally don't go to cocina económicas where they cook in ceramic pots. Ceramic pots suggest that the person is unaware of modern cooking techniques, which means I have less trust in regards to their ability to protect me from bacteria, and they may be unaware of health and safety issues. Fourth, if you are in a family's house in a city, you can pretty much guarantee that the food will be of high quality. In my experience, the quality of food made by a family is almost always better than in a Mexican restaurant. I have never been sick eating with a family. We now come to the issue of Chinese food, more specifically Chinese buffets. One of the most special events in my life took place in a Chinese buffet in a cheap part of Pachuca. That was the day that my innards became my outards, and I spent the whole night projectile vomiting. The problem with buffets is that you have food being kept out for long periods of time at warm temperatures, allowing bacteria to flourish. Even now I can remember the dish I ate, and to be honest, the tentacle I placed on my plate was literally on its last legs. This doesn't only happen in Chinese restaurants. I have been in supermarkets watching seafood and rice being kept out for hours on a low heat, like 50 degrees centigrade, and I place a wide berth over that little baby. If something looks like it's been heating for over 2 hours, you want to stay away. That being said, there are Chinese institutions where I have never been sick. For example, in a supermarket Soriana in Pachuca, there are Chinese restaurants where many people pass by, and so the turnover of food is quick. This comes back to the issue mentioned in the context of cocina económicas. You want to ask yourself, how long has this food been warming? How hot is it? If you buy something and have a little doubt in your mind, just put it in the microwave and heat it thoroughly. As a general rule, it is good to be able to see your food being cooked and observe the general attitude of staff towards food. In Pachuca, it is very common that the food is prepared in public view. Such establishments tend to have clients. Posher places tend not to cook in public, and you can't always trust posh places. I have my favourite posh place where I eat on special occasions. Once I went there and the place was almost full. When my food arrived, the meat was undercooked and the food was cold in the middle. Health and safety is not always the top priority of establishments, so be aware. Now we shall consider taquerias. The whole point of a taqueria is that you get any part of an animal you want, its leg, its stomach lining, its kidney, its head. You dip it in boiling fat, and then when it comes out, there's nothing living on it. Then you chop it up into little bits and slap it on a tortilla and add a bit of salsa roja, or red sauce. Hey presto, you have food ready to eat. I have never been ill from eating in a taqueria. They are very popular in Mexico, although you might want to check your cholesterol levels after your holiday. So finally, I would like to give an overview of what we have looked at. If you're in Mexico, drink bottled water, but don't be paranoid about tap water. Wash vegetables thoroughly. If you go out to eat in a buffet, check to see how long the food has been there and at what temperature. You can trust places more if they mass produce for a large clientele. You can trust places more if they prepare your food in public. Tacos will probably not make you ill, but take a dictionary with you to make sure that you're eating beef instead of sheep's stomach, nerves or brain.